guys, welcome back to the Bray and Ethan podcast, episode 81, powered of course by Skinbro for 2023. Use code Bray and Ethan 20 for 20% off all skincare products at skinbro.com, and all orders of course over $35 now get free shipping, Ethan, so it's time to get onto it.
Winter is almost here, so as Asher says, as everyone says, you've got to look after your skin now. We've been watching this guy very closely for a little while now. He's a big-bodied midfielder out of Peel Thunder, Colts premiership player last year, and a name that AFL clubs would already be excited about. Clay Hall, welcome.
Cheers, boys. Cheers for having me.
Pleasure to have you on. You've had a birthday a week ago. You've turned to the big 18. How's life treated you as an adult in the last 7 days? Anything different?
No, it's not much different, to be honest. It's pretty similar. There's a lot of hype, at turning 18. I think moving out of home sort of a month or two ago was sort of the step up in adulthood, I guess. So, yeah, it's sort of been a good transition over. So, yeah, not much difference at all, really.
And you're living with Koltyn. How's that? How's he been treating you? Obviously spending a lot of time together. So how you find that balance and not having to probably travel as far to come to even like this today?
Yeah, well, with Koltyn, there's definitely no dull moments. You would know he's very out there type of bloke, best bloke you'll ever meet. And yeah, it's been a lot easier being out of home, to be honest. Nothing about the family or anything. It's just sort of the travel was just the main thing that was biggest indicator, having to go from school last year, graduated last year, but having to hop in the car straight after school and an hour and a half, 2 hours to train and then straight back in the car, it takes a fair big toll on the body. So it's been a lot easier, just a 15-minute drive to training and games.
Yeah, and that's almost like a 6-hour training session in a way, spending an hour and a half, 2 hours in the car, 2 hours of training, and the same on the way back.
Yeah,
so
for sure. And
that happens 2 times a week plus a game.
Yeah, like the amount I was doing it last year, I sort of thought I would get through it this year. I didn't actually have any plans of moving, but after the first few weeks of training, I thought if this goes on for the whole year, you just get drained. Your body is working a fair bit, travelling and training that much. So, yeah, just give myself the best chance and rest the body as much as I can.
Yeah, well, when you said it was only a 15-minute drive, I was like, there's no way he's coming from Mandurah or somewhere down there. So
Como, pretty central to everything. Like, it's not that far anywhere. Yeah. So it's a good spot.
Now, with a dad who played at Geelong and West Coast as well as Peel, has his been influence like on you growing up and that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's been pretty similar to any other dad, I reckon. Like, growing up, your son playing footy, there's always that sort of word that your dad played AFL, but it's never really been any different for me. He's always supported me through footy when I started in Auskick and then played juniors. He's always been there supporting, but, it's pretty similar to any other kid in that regard, I reckon. He's just always there for support. He's never there chewing my ear off, sort of saying, need to do this, need to do that. If I want to have a chat about footy, we can. If not, he sort of just lets it all happen, which I like.
Yeah, for sure. Well, is it true you used to do a bit of boundary umpiring in Victoria before you relocated to WA?
Yeah, I started that real young. Started that when I was about 10, umpiring fully grown men from the boundary. So, yeah, it was a bit daunting, but it was a good way to bring in some cash.
Any good at it?
I was all right. I literally rocked up to the first training and all you had to do was there was a rugby goalpost and they said if you can throw it behind your head and get it over that pole, you're in. So got it over the pole and they just let me go from there.
So what competition was that?
Yeah. It was... I don't actually know the competition. It was just local footy around. Okay. So it was like sort of Marupna Cats started off around that sort of competition. Then it sort of, as we travelled Australia, sort of just kept doing it. Did a bit in Queensland as well. So...
Nice. Yeah, so you've travelled a bit. So when was it you came to WA after that?
It was start of high school I came to WA, but prior to that, we were in Victoria. So I was born in Shepparton in Victoria, lived there for 10 years, and then sort of out of nowhere, in a way, Mum and Dad decided we're going to travel Australia for a couple of years. So hooked up in the caravan and just all along the coastline for 2 years. So that was a real good experience. And then when I sort of hit the age of starting high school, they're teaching sort of abilities they didn't think were up to standards for me at high school. So, yeah, whacked me in a high school and been there since.
And living in the southwest since then, obviously not now, but how have you enjoyed, I guess, the lifestyle down there? I guess a little bit of surfing, I'm guessing, and tell us a bit about your footy journey.
Yeah, for sure. The southwest lifestyle suited me pretty much perfect from the age of 12 to 17, sort of when I was there. It's a really, really quiet town, Binning Up. It's got about 1,500 people, so everyone knows everyone and get to do a lot of cruisy things that I enjoy, the hobby, sort of surfing, skating, go diving for craze, stuff like that. So, no, that was awesome there. And then played footy for Harvey Brunswick Leschenault. That was the local club there. Have had a few good talents come out of there. Brady Hoff, Ethan Hughes. So, no, it's a really good club. Loved every minute of it there. So, no, it's been a good journey through that club.
Now, the Southwest has been thriving in recent years in terms of talent coming out of there. There's been a couple of names in particular that I guess have featured on the show in the past and are doing their thing in the AFL now. So Brady Hoff, Jai Amos, Jimmy Tunstall and Ruben Jimby, just to name a few. How inspiring is that for you to see them coming through the ranks?
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
You can do that.
Awesome seeing those boys sort of in the same position that I was in, as we were talking about before. Some of them did it differently. Some moved to Perth. Ruben, good mates with him. He come up for schooling here, so he went to Wesley. So it's cool to see how his transition went, and then to see sort of Jimmy and Jai and also Brady, they all stayed down south and made the travel. So, no, it's a really big commitment, but super inspiring as well to sort of see where they are now and picture that's where I'm sort of hoping to be.
Do you check in with them about what it's been like? I know you probably wouldn't want to talk so much footy with them, but do you sort of check in how's this been or whatnot?
Yeah, sort of in a way, you don't want to sort of touch too much on footy with them, I guess, because it's just always on all of our minds a bit. I'd say I'm pretty good mates with Ruben Jimby, so at times, throughout the start of the year when I was unsure whether I should move to Perth or not, sort of flick him a text and see what he recommended. But no, it's good to keep in touch with him every now and then. See Brady Hoff down south getting back to the club. So as much as you want to talk about footy for hours with them, it's good to sort of void away from it as well.
Yeah, did you play for the Southwest team in Futures before Peel?
Yeah. So that's how I sort of come up in Futures. So after year 9 or year 10 with HBL, we formed a Futures squad and played 6 games throughout the start of that 2021 year. Lost every single game, but
yeah,
that was good fun.
I have heard stories. I mean, it is a bit tough, compared to actual waffle clubs with their programs. Before we touch on more of what you've achieved so far, how would you describe yourself as a player, not only your position currently, but where you'd like to end up?
Yeah, so I sort of see myself that sort of typical inside mid. You see the big bodies, This year I've sort of gained a lot more power throughout the legs that I sort of probably didn't use as much as I could have last year. So I sort of see my strengths if I get the ball in tight, get my contested ball up, and then sort of just burst out of a stoppage using my power and speed. I think that's my strengths. But then also just being able to work around the grounds using my running ability. I think that's also where my strength lays. And then sort of want to be that inside mid who can roll forward and be really impactful as well. You see all those players these days, Paddy Cripps and your Bontempelli, they're beasts in the midfield, winning all the contested ball, and then they go down forward and they're the one kicking goals as well. So, yeah, that's sort of where I want to see myself in a few years' time.
Bloody oath. Well, as a member of the Colts flag last year at Peel, do you think it helped being underdogs on that day? And what are your memories, not only of the day, but I guess that week leading up to that big day?
Yeah, I think it did help us being underdogs, to be honest. I think we were more underdogs from the outside. Our coaching staff and players, we had so much faith that we were going to do well in the grand final. I think it was just part of how close we were as a group. All the boys were so close with each other. We were even all of the coaches and staff involved as well. Everyone was just so tight as a group. So I think we were sort of just filled with confidence in a way. The week before the grand final, coming into it, we were just soaking it all up. There was a lot of nerves, a lot of excitement, but then, being able to take it out was an awesome experience. The week after, everyone was still on such a high just off the fact that we'd won a Colts flag. It doesn't happen too often. So, yeah, it was definitely one of the most memorable moments of my life.
And sorry, you go.
What was like playing in front of that crowd at Leederville Oval that day? That was a chock-a-block crowd, and I guess you guys holding your nerves as well, as West Perth did give you a bit of a scare.
Yeah, no, big scare for sure at the end of the game. It was funny because before the game, there was definitely a lot more people than your normal game, but sort of as the game went on, because we had the league game after us, it was starting to get really packed. So the Rezzies game after us, and then no, it was Rezzies morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, 8:30 or whatever.
Yeah, it was a bit of a mix up that day for sure. But yeah, with league after us, there was people just rolling in. I think towards the end of our game, we had 18,000 people there. So at times, as footy is, you'd be really stuck into the game. But if a goal was kicked or something, you'd look around and be like, oh shit, that's a lot of people. But no, it was definitely a scare at the end of the game. They come out really hot that last 5 or 10 minutes, but as soon as the siren went, we just knew we were home, so it was perfect.
And a lot of the players in that team were underage, so in a way it's kind of scary to think what more could be achieved. So coming into this year, you were named Peel's Colts captain, but weren't named in the National Academy, which a lot of people thought you were stiff to miss out on. How do you put that disappointment behind you? Because as we've seen, you can still be drafted without the National Academy inclusion. It means something, but in a way, for the draft, it kind of doesn't.
Yeah, for sure. It was sort of, I was a bit bummed out for the first week or so. It's something that's definitely a goal that I wanted to have, to be named in that academy. But once it didn't happen, I know there's sort of nothing I can do about it other than sort of just keep working on my craft. I reckon it's almost worked as a positive in a way for me. I could look at all the negatives to come out of it, but if I look at it from a sort of positive point of view, I just use it as fuel. That's somewhere where I want to be. Last week I drove Koltyn and Dan Curtin to the airport, and once I dropped them off, I was like, wish I could be there. I could dwell on that for as long as I want, but no, that's not going to help anything. So I sort of just use it as a bit of fuel, want to be able to sort of go up against those players and hold my own, sort of show what I have to give. So yeah, there's positives and negatives to take out of it, I guess, but definitely like to stick on the positive side of it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you're clearly ready for league footy at the start of the season because your debut came in round 2, because the following week you were arguably one of Peel's best in that game with 27 disposals. Have you surprised yourself how well you've gone against grown men?
I'd say yes in a way. Last year, just playing Colts footy the whole year, I had a couple of trainings with the league, and I sort of thought, there's some big bodies. I'd love to go up against them next year, but I think it was the work that paid off in a way. I know I spent a fair bit of time in the gym in the pre-season, noticed a few changes in my body, just getting a bit bigger, and then just being around those players, being able to train with those sort of inside mids that we have at Peel, and then just all the other experienced players we have, it sort of just kept blossoming for me, and I just kept developing as a player. And the aim was to play round 1. Unfortunately, just missed out and scraping into that side, but opportunity came the week after when one of our midfielders got injured. So now it's been a really good experience so far. It's good.
And a performance like that only would get people talking more. How have you learnt to deal with the attention from when you were maybe first getting touted as a potential draft prospect a couple of years ago or whenever it was, to now when you're probably receiving it most weeks?
Yeah, it's a funny thing to deal with, as much as you want to read into it and sort of take it as a cool thing. It's really cool seeing your name out there and what people think of you, what they might not think the best things of you, but it's sort of, I like to go away to sort of things that get my mind away from footy in that sort of regard. I love to surf, go play golf, so I think if I sort of look into that stuff too much, it'll sort of fill your head with the wrong sort of information, There's a lot of words going around, so I like to sort of just stay out of it as much as I can, pretty much.
Now, Peel are doing pretty well at the moment, so it must be pretty cool and awesome to play with a bunch of Dockers boys coming in and out of that side each week, and I guess build relationships and see how they go about their footy.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. Having that alignment works well in so many ways. At times we get to go to Coburn and use the Freo facilities, and just being able to see sort of where I want to be within the next sort of 6 months. If I end up be lucky enough to land my spot on a list, that's sort of where you want to end up, of course. So just being able to sort of see that environment and learn off all these players that were once in the same position I'm in. I've sort of taken a lot off Neil Erasmus and Matt Johnson. They were playing a bit of Colts and league back when they were the same age I was, so it's just really cool to sort of learn off them.
Yeah, it's that building relationships. I don't reckon a lot of people, draft prospects, would get that in alignment with current Dockers players who have played AFL and
Still
experience as well. It must be, it would be awesome.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Sort of seeing Erasmus and Matt Johnson sort of work their way into the side now, and think that a month or two ago, I was talking to them a fair bit just about footy. So it's really cool just to sort of see people work up the ranks and then get them to put some knowledge into you, sort of chew their ear off a bit, trying to sort of just learn as much as I can off them.
And just on that, I just thought of it, it'd be interesting because guys like Neil and others on the list who are playing at Peel, I don't know, you might not be the best person to ask this, but what's the balance between playing the way the Dockers want to play but then also helping Peel because he's still a waffle club who wants to win, and there are like guys like you and older guys who aren't in the AFL. So what's that balance like between like the coaching of like you need to do this to get into the AFL, but then also help Peel win because it's working pretty well?
Yeah, I think it helps in a way that we sort of have to base our game style off what Freo's is like, because you can't just have the Freo boys coming back and tell them to play a completely different game style. You know, their head would be filled with too much at that stage. So, no, it's really cool to see how they handle it. All of them, that's sort of something I've taken in a fair bit. Like, all of them are still so professional in how they do it, you know, whether they're coming back because of injury or form, you know, they still hold themselves at that accountability they would hold themselves at an AFL list. So, no, it's really cool to see how they handle it. And you notice the players playing well, coming back for Freo, are doing everything like they can for the team. So, there's no selfishness at all or anything. It's just really good bunch of boys who are just willing to play team footy, which is good.
And the champs aren't far away now. What are the feelings like with training ramping up? In terms of yourself, is there anything you learnt from your one game last year that you're wanting to build on?
Yeah, no, it's actually coming around really quick. I think it's coming around a bit quicker than last year. You know, it's first champs game is in about a month from now, I think. So it's happened really quick. But the group we've got together right now is an awesome bunch of boys. You know, everyone's getting along so well. That camaraderie is definitely there, and I think it helped me in a way for sure that I played that one game last year, sort of just got a taste of what it's like, and then going into this year sort of know what to expect in a way, and then just hopefully play well. So
For sure. Well, in terms of off the field, what's life like for you at the moment? Work, uni, study, whatever?
Yeah, so currently at Bunnings Trade Centre, just behind the airport. So we just get all the big orders from houses and basically just stack the timber for them. So that's sort of just a casual job at the moment, just work Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. So going to go into a bridging course for PE studies so I can hopefully become a teacher, go to uni next year. So, yeah, that's life at the moment pretty much.
PE study, the teaching is a very popular avenue for a lot of people. So
yeah, especially at Peel. If you talk to the Peel seniors group, I reckon half of them are teachers. It's crazy.
Oh, well, you can learn a few things there.
That's good.
The Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, questions and answers. Of course, thanks to Skinbro. We got a heap that have been sent through.
A lot. And Clay said he didn't want to be stitched up too much, so we'll try not to.
Oh, good. I'm sure
bad.
the boys would throw a stitch up.
Of course, you can send in a question to future guests at Bray and Ethan on Instagram and also Facebook and Twitter as well. First one, I guess, of 2 weeks ago, Riley Hardman. Best food you've made living with Koltyn?
Yeah.
Start with that first. Got a second part coming.
Oh, that is tricky. We make burritos every Sunday just because it sort of takes 10 minutes. You know, nobody really wants to cook on a Sunday. They go down pretty well. So, I'd say we did have some chicken and vegetables, and the chicken was like really well marinated. We sort of got some honey in it as well. That was probably our best feed so far. Still yet to up the ratings on our cooking. Yeah.
What's the like? Who does the chores? Is there like a balance, or is one of you pulling above their weight in that aspect?
No, it's pretty much free for all, to be honest. Like, I think we almost try and press each other in a way. Like, if you see the kitchen's dirty, you don't want to be that guy where Koltyn comes home from work and I'm on the couch and there's a dirty kitchen. So it's sort of, we have a really good balance. You know, we help cook each night, whether I do the salads and he cooks the meat. So now we've got a really good mix.
And then the second part, so Riley's question, who's more cracked at Fortnite?
No, definitely me. Koltyn sucks at Fortnite.
Next one from, how do you pronounce it, Bray?
Leames.
Would you rather paint a wall with your face or your knees?
Oh, that's a tricky one. I'd have to go face. I reckon it'd be sort of easier to navigate my way through the wall.
I have no idea what the context behind that is.
I wouldn't have a clue either.
This one here from Chomp321. Who's your favourite SWFL umpire?
It would have to be Beamish, Jacob Beamish, the best umpire out there. So get around him.
Oscar Heinbaston, kiss, marry or kill, Oscar, or Oscar?
It would have to be Oscar for all three of them.
Ella Roberts, former guest, of course, doing her thing at the Eagles AFLW side now, and obviously down from the southwest regions as well. Has Sam Graham had an influence on your football journey so far?
I think this is a question I asked her when she was on.
I think so.
Going through her draft here, but Sammy's had a good impact on my football journey so far.
And another one from Ella, our favourite women's AFL player.
She sort of put me in a bit of a predicament here. Yeah, no, I've been really good mates with Ella for a while, so yeah, we'll have to stick with her.
Archie Hall, strongest in your family, and why has it always been Archie?
It's actually not Archie. You could go his younger brother Riley, much stronger than him, much better athlete, much better footy and basketball player. So we'll go Riley Hall for that one.
Cade Waldock, who's Snaz? Question mark.
I've got no clue who Snaz is.
No comment there. Bray, next one.
Ethan Parks, Parksy or Derek for dinner?
Go Parksy, I reckon he'd cook up a much better feed than Derek would.
Stiff on the old man. Cooper Daring 9. Who wore your suit to a school ball?
Yeah, I actually had to lend my suit to Cooper. He didn't have his own. He messaged me a couple of days before his ball asking if he could borrow mine, so I had to pull through and let him wear it.
A couple of days before. That is very late.
Yeah, no, very for sure. So, no, he's done well to be able to pull it off.
Joel Rush, where did you get the nickname Rick from?
Oh, that was banging last year from Scott Tuia. So my mate knows that sort of, everyone brings up my dad's name with footy, and he knows sort of I'm not a big fan when everyone brings it up. So he started calling me Derek. Right. I was like, oh, you're joking. So my nickname formed as Derek at the club, and then it just shortened to Rick. And him and Trent Brown and Scott Tuia were sort of the main founders of that one. So it sort of stuck since.
True lazy Australians just can't be bothered
real basic.
A longer name, they just shorten it as short as they can.
Yeah, well, the rest is history with that nickname. Freo in focus, what made you pick footy over basketball?
I think it was just something I enjoyed more. When I was sort of 13, 14, it was just I loved playing both. I still love basketball, but sort of at the end of the day, when I had to choose, it was pretty much just what did I enjoy more, and it was always footy for me.
Monica.Nicole1, what's your pre-game routine?
It sort of switches up for when I'm playing league or with Colts, because Colts, you play so early in the morning, you don't really even have a chance to have a routine. But if I'm playing league, tend to go to a cafe, love to get a coffee before a game, and then just once I've grabbed my coffee, like to go to the beach, whether I hop in the water, go for a swim, or just go for a walk. Sort of, I don't like to think footy too much before the game. I think it sort of clouds my head too much if I do that. So yeah, definitely just grab a coffee and go down to the beach.
Yep.
Nice and popular. The Mitchie 123. We kind of already touched on it, but how's the balance between footy and everyday life?
Yeah, it's good. I think working 3 days a week is really good. Sort of takes my mind off footy when I have to, which is really good because coming into your draft year, it can sort of just sit in the back of your mind all the time. So I reckon it's good to have a distraction, but then being able to have Wednesday and Friday off, I can sort of really get the body right and just catch up on some activities that I want to do. So, no, it's a good balance.
I don't think this is Smudger Smith. It's just Stephen_Smith. Was Mr. Gore your favourite science teacher?
Oh, I think he was like my science teacher for about 3 years in a row. So, yeah, I'd have to cop him as the favourite science teacher.
I got that right, Gore?
Yeah, it's Gore,
cool.
Yeah.
Like that.
Thomas O'Brien, 207. How was the high school you went to?
Yeah, it wasn't a bad high school. It was sort of your local public. It was Australian Senior High School, so a lot of my mates went there, and as you'd know, sort of going to school with all your best mates, it just makes it a lot easier. So, yeah, it's not a bad school to go to.
Next one's Jonah Klemke, I think it is. How was smoking the 16s, boys?
No, it was good fun. We had the bye for the Eagles last week, so played a half against the 16s boys, just ran off the back flank. It was good to sort of get some new faces mixed in our team, so it was a good run out.
That was a decent game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good.
Like two goals or something?
Yeah, we won by 2 goals in the end, but they're a solid side, the 16s boys.
Solid effort. Jay Pasley. Is Pasley the best bloke you've played with?
Paz, actually I haven't seen him in ages. He played Colts last year, the year before. He was there for my first game. So, he's up there with one of them.
Joel_Brown 4. Another nickname. Why do people call you Yogi Bear?
This is actually Trent Brown's younger brother. So the bloke who started calling me Derek, this is his younger brother. So we had a lot of car trips to training. This is a Southwest boy. And he looked at me once and he just goes, "You look like Yogi Bear." I was like, "Mate, what are you talking about?" Like, probably the weirdest thing I've ever heard, but he's just called me Yogi Bear since.
How many nicknames can you have? Like,
as you said before, Australians,
exactly.
So many.
Well, at least you aren't getting jockey or something.
Like Zach Man
wearing.
when you're 180 centimetres.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a stitch up.
All right, we'll move on to the quiz. I'm going to have to sort of protect my screen here, I reckon, so you can't see any answers if my brightness wants to go down. We'll have a look at the leaderboard from recent couple of weeks, of course, thanks to Skinbro. Riley Hardman sitting at the top on 12 points, sorry. Zach Mainwaring last week came through with 11, which was pretty generous. We got some feedback, Ethan, some pretty generous points that was given to Zach last week.
And Taj, to be honest.
That's typical Hard sitting on the top of a quiz.
Yeah.
He likes to call himself the smartest bloke going around.
And your housemate Koltyn, he's sitting on 10.
Yeah.
So big bragging rights
Yeah,
coming into
massive
that.
bragging
And
rights.
probably bragging rights as well with Riley. I'm assuming you play Fortnite with him as well. So
Yeah, no, good mates with Hard.
So-
If I could get on top of him in a quiz, I would never let him forget that.
yeah, I like it. And then Zach Langdon and Taj Schofield also sitting on 10 as well. So the leaderboard is slowly growing. 10 seems to be pretty popular at the moment. So we'll see how we can go.
Let's go for double figures then.
We'll start 14 points on offer here. 10 questions. Question number 1, just for the 1 point. What is your height and weight on the Waffle website?
It should be 190 centimetres and 85 kilos.
Bang, bang. Got that
so.
correct. So
Correct.
one from one.
How many disposals did you have on league debut?
It was 16, I think.
Yeah, bang.
Come on.
It's 2 from 2. Question number 3. Including the home and away season and finals, how many games did Peel Colts win as a whole last year out of 24 games?
Oh, I reckon I could actually get this because we spoke about it a lot. Was it 18?
15.
15, yeah, right.
So that was a tough one.
Yeah.
Number 4, name the 2 Peel teammates that had more touches than you in the Colts grand final.
Would be Reece Torrent.
He's one.
Yep.
And was it Scott Tuia?
He's the other.
Bang.
Got it.
How many did you have? This isn't a question about how many did you have, do you know?
Oh, I think it was somewhere around 22, 23.
23. Well, doing
He
very
knows.
nicely.
He knows.
What are we on? 3?
3 from 4. Question number 5. You had the most tackles on the ground on the weekend against Swans in the Colts. How many tackles was this?
Pretty sure I remember this. I think it was 13.
13.
13.
Bang.
Come on.
13.
Where's
4
Anthony
from 5.
Hudson? This is literally a true or false. You and your father are the only father-son duo to play for Peel Thunder League ever.
Yeah, that would be true. The club's told us that before the game, so yeah.
That's
I know
actually quite. I know, like Peel have a relatively short history, but that's actually like.
Yeah, it
bit
was funny.
surprising.
I actually had no clue. Neither did Dad. I think we thought about it for a second, but I think we just assumed someone else had done it.
Yeah.
So, no, it's pretty cool. to
Well,
hear
Rhett
that.
Bazzo potentially could have been.
He could have done it if
Yeah.
he did go to Peel.
Yeah, and play league. I don't think did he play league footy in his draft year? I can't remember.
Who?
Rhett.
I don't.
I don't know
think
if he did.
so.
No, because he would have played PSA.
Yeah.
So it would have been a struggle. So that would have helped him. So we're 5 from 6, sorry. Question number 7. Which Peel League teammate has had the closest jersey number to you, either up or down to your 21?
Ooh, is this for league jersey?
Closest mate in the locker.
Oh, I should know this. Is it Josh Draper?
Incorrect. Carl Warner,
Oh,
Number
Carlos. Oh, I should have known that one.
who I might just say I reckon he's been stiff to not get a league debut at Fremantle at the moment because he's been dominating. But I guess they're doing all
They
right.
play
so.
some very good footy. He's fun
Yeah.
to watch.
5 from 7.
Number 8. In your one game in the under-18s champs last year, you had 12 disposals. Did you have more contested or uncontested?
I was playing on the wing, so I'd probably say I had more uncontested.
Yep,
Correct. It was uncontested 8 and contested 4.
We are 6 from 8. Heading into question number 9. What year was the last time WA won the under-18 championships?
Oh, was it 2016?
Correct.
Incorrect.
2019.
Yeah.
Oh,
When
serious?
Regan Clark kicked the
Yeah,
goal
he
after the
he
siren.
kicked it to win,
Marvel.
didn't he?
Yeah.
No, I should have known that.
Yep. So still on 6, heading into the last question now. This is
Got to be a
big
strong
one.
final run.
So it's usually who am I, but we do change it up here and there. So if there's 5 points up for grabs. Name the 3 people drafted out of the HBL Lions in the past, and if you want a hint, all 3 were drafted to WA clubs.
It would have to be Brady Hoff.
Yeah.
He's one.
Ethan Hughes.
Yeah.
2.
And from HBL, you said, yeah. Oh, come on, I should know this. Been at the club for a while. Stump me there.
I mean, we can give a clue, but
Go the clue.
Did you play at Gold Coast?
no, played at Freo.
Yeah, I know, but then did he go to Gold Coast?
No, he was only at Freo. This is just going to give it away, but we may as well. Same last name as who you said your manager was.
Oh, and Anthony Movito. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But we'll get the 5.
No, if he listens to this, Luke, he won't let me forget that.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fair while ago.
Yeah, no, the 2 other ones were pretty recent, so that's pretty easy.
So that takes us to 11.
11.
So
You've beaten Koltyn,
yeah,
Bragging
bragging
rights
rights this
already.
afternoon. When
but
get
you
home.
haven't beaten Riley. So, I mean, it's a positive but a negative. But if you had to
wanna
choose,
get on top of him.
if you had to choose out of them, you'd probably rather beat Koltyn, considering you're living with him.
I guess I can sort of hang it on him the whole time I'm with him, but Hards is a very smart man, so if I could beat him in a quiz, that would be great bragging rights.
It would. All right, well, that concludes today's episode. Episode 81 as well. We are flying towards 100. 19 to
Come
go.
around quickly.
It has. So, of course, we've got a little gift, thanks to Skinbro, to give you after recording. But, Clay, can't thank you again for coming on.
Thanks heaps for having me,
the
boys.
Savo, and wishing you all the best this weekend and in the rest of the year with your
Cheers,
footy
heaps.
endeavours.
Thanks heaps. Cheers for getting me in.
Pleasure. Of course. Not at. Well, we can go at Bray and Ethan for all the socials.
And at my skin bro, if you
Yeah.
wanted to do a nice little segue there.
Of course. But then, of course, just at Bray Ethan for TikTok as well to check all that out. And, of course, I was going to go to the code. I was going to say at Bray and Ethan 20, but no, it's just Bray and Ethan 20 for, of course, 20% off all skincare products at skinbro.com. The face is looking not too bad at the moment, Ethan.
Yeah, it probably needs a little bit of work still, but I'm sticking at it. Consistency is the key, as Ash would say. So.
Exactly. You've got to keep looking after the face with all your Skinbro products. All right, Ethan will be back, of course, next week. Flash setup in here as well. We might
It is
try
a
and
very
get
nice
this
set
up next week as well. So we'll hopefully see you then.
Sure will.
Thanks for your time. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube, you can head to YouTube. If you're on Spotify or whatever, you can head to YouTube and actually watch it if you want. If you're on YouTube, of course, you can watch it on Spotify as well. So appreciate your time watching or listening wherever you are tuning into, and we'll be back next time here on the Bray and Ethan podcast.